You won't believe this, but the real reason your body refuses to lose fat has nothing to do with calories, workouts, or willpower. It's because your biology has been silently programmed to protect your fat, even when you are desperately trying to burn it. For years, you've been told that weight loss is a simple math equation, a neat little formula of calories in versus calories out. But your body is not a calculator, and fat is not a calculator, and fat is not just stored energy waiting to be burned. It is an active, living tissue responding to signals, hormones, blood vessels, inflammatory triggers, and microscopic changes that determine whether you shed weight or stubbornly hold on to it. And once you understand this hidden truth, everything you've been taught about dieting begins to collapse. Imagine eating less, exercising more, doing every single thing right, yet your fat still clings to you like it's fighting for its life, because biologically it actually is. Your fat has its own survival mechanisms, its own blood supply, and even its own ways of communicating with your brain, convincing it to eat more, move less, and store every bite for later. And this is where the real science begins, because the key to losing weight fast and effectively has nothing to do with starving yourself or counting calories. It lies in mastering the signals that control fat growth, fat loss, and fat metabolism from the inside out. When you look at fat under a microscope, you discover something shocking. Fat cannot grow without a blood supply. It survives, expands, and thrives only when your body grows new blood vessels to feed it. This process, known as angiogenesis, is one of the most overlooked biological mechanisms in the entire weight loss conversation. When angiogenesis is out of balance, your body starts feeding fat cells excessively, allowing them to swell and multiply. This is why some people store fat faster even when they don't eat much, while others stay lean despite consuming more food. It's not about calories, it's about biology. And here's where the paradigm shifts. Because once you start eating certain foods that naturally shut down abnormal fat-feeding blood vessels, your body begins burning fat effortlessly, not through restriction, but through activation of your own internal fat-burning pathways. This is the exact science that modern research is uncovering. Foods that naturally correct angiogenesis, heal metabolism, reduce inflammation, and turn off the hormonal alarms that force your body to store fat. And the moment these systems calm down, your body stops fighting you. Your hunger signals normalize, your fat cells stop receiving excessive nourishment, and your metabolism shifts into a state where it can finally unlock stored fat and use it for energy. And perhaps the most fascinating part is that your fat is not just sitting there uselessly. It contains brown fat, a special kind of fat that burns energy to keep your body warm. When brown fat activates, it behaves like an internal furnace, drawing energy from white fat, converting it into heat, and naturally lowering your overall fat stores. But brown fat cannot perform this magic if your biology is inflamed, starved, stressed, or suppressed by crash diets. This is why calorie counting fails over and over again. When you restrict calories harshly, your body panics. It lowers your metabolism, increases fat-storing hormones, reduces fat-storing hormones, and shuts down brown fat activity. In other words, the more you starve yourself, the more efficiently your body stores fat. This is the opposite of what you want, and yet millions of people are trapped in this cycle because they've been told to treat their body like a math equation instead of a living biological system. When you shift your focus from restriction to metabolic repair, everything changes. Foods that support healthy angiogenesis begin cutting off excess blood supply to fat cells. Foods rich in polyphenols activate brown fat, turning it into a powerful fat-burning engine. Anti-inflammatory nutrients calm your hormonal chaos, helping your body regulate appetite naturally. Fiber-dense foods transform your gut microbiome, allowing beneficial bacteria to produce compounds that directly improve fat metabolism. Healthy fats reset leptin sensitivity, giving you back control over cravings and satiety. These processes work together, not in isolation, to create an internal environment where fat loss becomes natural, fast, and sustainable. And when this alignment happens, something extraordinary takes place. Your body begins losing fat even without intense workouts. You start burning fat not because you force your body into stress, but because your biology is finally cooperating with your goals instead of resisting them. This is why people who master metabolic pathways often report sudden breakthroughs, dropping inches, reducing cravings, boosting energy, and feeling lighter without suffering. It isn't magic, it's science finally being used correctly. And what's even more surprising is that many of the foods capable of triggering these fat-burning processes are not exotic or expensive. They are everyday foods, simple ingredients, natural compounds available to everyone, yet almost no one uses them strategically because the world is still obsessed with calorie myths. But once you start applying this knowledge intentionally, once you begin feeding your body what it needs to rebalance angiogenesis, activate brown fat, stabilize hormones, and reduce inflammation, your fat no longer stands a chance. It becomes biologically impossible for your body to keep storing fat at the same rate because you shut down the very systems that allow it to survive. And this is where the real transformation begins. Not through starvation, but through understanding and harnessing the science of your own body. What most people never realize is that the struggle to lose weight is not a battle of willpower, but a silent internal war between the signals that tell your fat cells to grow and the signals that tell them to shrink. When those signals fall out of balance, fat loss becomes nearly impossible, no matter how disciplined you are. Imagine your body as a tightly coordinated system in which hormones, blood vessels, immune cells, and metabolic pathways constantly communicate. When this system operates smoothly, you can eat flexibly, feel satisfied, and maintain a healthy weight without effort. But when the system becomes disrupted, your body gets locked into fat storage mode, quietly instructing your cells to expand even when you're trying to lose weight. And the surprising part is that this disruption rarely begins with overeating. It almost always begins with inflammation. Inflammation acts like static in the communication lines of your metabolism. It interferes with leptin, the hormone that normally tells your brain that you are full. It interferes with insulin, which should shuttle energy into your cells efficiently. It interferes with adiponectin, the hormone responsible for enhancing fat burning. When inflammation rises, these signals become distorted, and without even realizing it, your body begins to store fat more rapidly while burning it more slowly. Suddenly, you find yourself hungrier than usual, craving sugary foods, waking up tired, and unable to trigger fat burning efficiently. This is why so many people eat less but feel worse, because inflammation is still sabotaging their internal system. The truth is that excess fat is not merely stored energy, it is biologically active and capable of producing inflammatory molecules that worsen the problem. As fat cells grow, they become overcrowded and stressed. This stress triggers them to release cytokines, chemical messengers that create even more inflammation. This inflammation, in turn, blocks fat-burning signals and encourages your body to store even more fat. It's a vicious loop, a biological trap that keeps you stuck no matter how carefully you try to diet. But here's where the science takes a turn for the better. Your body also has the ability to reduce inflammation naturally through the foods you eat. When you choose foods rich in antioxidants, polyphenols, and bioactive compounds, you literally quiet the inflammatory fire inside your fat tissue. And when the inflammation cools down, your hormones begin communicating clearly again. Leptin starts signaling properly, helping you feel full sooner. Insulin sensitivity improves, allowing your body to move energy into cells efficiently instead of storing it in fat. Adiponectin increases, unlocking your internal fat-burning machinery, especially inside visceral fat, the deep abdominal fat that is the hardest to lose. Once this happens, your metabolism begins to shift effortlessly toward fat loss. But the most fascinating discovery is that certain foods don't just reduce inflammation, they actually remodel your fat at the cellular level. They help shrink the size of existing fat cells, prevent new fat cells from forming, and even reprogram white fat to behave more like brown fat, which burns energy instead of storing it. When brown fat is activated, it begins drawing fuel from your white fat reserves, turning stored fat into heat. This process, known as thermogenesis, is one of the most powerful mechanisms your body has for rapid fat loss, and you don't need extreme cold exposure or intense workouts to activate brown fat. Many natural foods have been shown to stimulate it gently and consistently. The result is a steady, effortless burn that continues even while you rest. Another overlooked factor in fast fat loss is your gut microbiome, the trillions of microorganisms living in your digestive tract. These microbes play a massive role in how your body stores and burns fat. When your gut is filled with beneficial bacteria, they produce short-chain fatty acids that enhance fat burning, balance blood sugar, and reduce inflammation. They also improve the integrity of your gut lining, preventing harmful substances from leaking into the bloodstream and triggering more inflammation. But when your gut microbiome is imbalanced, something that happens to millions of people without their knowledge, harmful bacteria begin to dominate. These bacteria extract more calories from the same food, increase cravings, disrupt hormone balance, and make fat loss exponentially harder. What's amazing is that feeding your body the right foods can shift your microbiome in a matter of days. Fermented foods, prebiotic fibers, polyphenol-rich plants, and certain healthy fats can create an environment where beneficial microbes thrive. As they increase, your body begins operating more efficiently, burning fat with less effort, reducing hunger naturally, and stabilizing your energy throughout the day. This internal transformation is the real secret behind fast and sustainable fat loss. It's never been about starving yourself. It's about optimizing the biological systems that decide how your body processes food, stores energy, and releases fat. And once you begin aligning your choices with these biological pathways, by eating foods that cool inflammation, support healthy angiogenesis, activate brown fat, and nurture your microbiome, your fat cells finally begin to shrink, not because you forced them to, but because your body no longer has a reason to hold on to them. The moment your biology feels safe, fuel efficient, and balanced, it lets go. And when these processes work in harmony, your weight loss becomes not only faster but dramatically easier. You stop fighting against your body and instead begin working with it, allowing the natural intelligence built into your biology to take over and guide you toward a healthier, leaner version of yourself. What becomes even more astonishing is what happens when your body finally shifts from a survival state into a healing state. Because that is the moment fat loss stops feeling like a struggle and begins happening almost automatically, driven by your biology instead of your effort. For years, people have believed that losing weight quickly is unsafe or unrealistic, but modern metabolic science tells a very different story. When your internal systems are repaired, when inflammation cools, when your gut microbiome flourishes, when angiogenesis becomes balanced, when brown fat activates, and when your hormones begin communicating properly, your body becomes a natural fat-burning machine. And it's not speed that becomes the problem, it's sustainability and biological cooperation. When your biology cooperates, fast fat loss is not only possible, it becomes the expected outcome. Think of it like removing a heavy weight that has been pressing on your metabolism for years. The moment the pressure lifts, your body springs back to life. Your energy increases, your cravings dramatically decrease, your sleep improves, and your fat begins to melt away because the internal processes that once blocked your progress are no longer in your path. This is why understanding how fat behaves inside your body is essential. Fat isn't passive, it responds to signals. And every food you eat is either sending a message of healing or a message of harm. When you choose foods rich in natural compounds that support endothelial health, improve insulin response, stimulate thermogenesis, and promote microbial diversity, you are essentially programming your body to release fat. Meanwhile, eating inflammatory, ultra-processed foods sends the opposite message, a message to store fat, protect it, and allow it to grow its own blood supply. This biological responsiveness is why two people can eat the exact same meal and experience two entirely different reactions. One person might burn through that meal efficiently, while the other ends up storing most of it as fat. The difference is not in the calories, but in the internal environment of their bodies. A metabolically healthy body uses energy smoothly. A metabolically disrupted body stores energy aggressively. And once you recognize that weight loss is not a punishment-based process but a restoration process, your entire relationship with food shifts. You stop thinking about deprivation and start thinking about nourishment. You stop worrying about numbers and start focusing on signals. You stop trying to fight your biology and begin guiding it. And that guidance becomes easier with every passing day because your body begins reinforcing your efforts instead of resisting them. As your metabolism repairs itself, your fat becomes more responsive, more willing to release energy, more willing to shrink. And perhaps the most fascinating part of all is that your body already contains everything it needs to burn fat. The brown fat cells, the hormones, the enzymes, the microbial allies. But all of these tools become muted by inflammation and poor metabolic health. Once you reactivate them through the right foods and habits, they begin working with a force far greater than any diet or workout plan alone. This is why real science-based fat loss never feels like suffering. It feels like clarity. It feels like relief. When you wake up with stable energy instead of fatigue, when you feel satisfied instead of ravenous, when your cravings fade instead of intensify, when your clothes begin fitting looser without you feeling deprived. That is the experience of a body that has been rebalanced from the inside. And this rebalanced state is not rare or impossible. It is your natural state, the state your body has been trying to return to for years. The only reason it hasn't succeeded is because the signals have been disrupted for too long. But the moment you begin feeding your body the right information, through the foods that support metabolic healing, through hydration that optimizes circulation, through sleep that regulates hormones, through stress reduction that stabilizes cortisol, the natural intelligence of your biology wakes up. It begins doing the heavy lifting for you. And this internal shift becomes the real reason you lose weight quickly and effectively, not through force, but through alignment. The world's obsession with calorie counting has distracted millions from the truth. Your body already knows how to burn fat. What it needs is the freedom to do so. It needs the inflammation to quiet down, the blood vessels to stop overfeeding fat, the microbiome to produce healing compounds, and the brown fat to ignite its thermogenic potential. When these processes are restored, fat loss becomes not only fast but deeply sustainable. You are not tricking your body into losing weight. You are restoring your body to its natural fat-burning state. And once this restoration happens, maintaining a healthy weight stops feeling like work. It becomes the biological default. Your body becomes lighter, clearer, more energized, and more resilient than it has felt in years. And you begin to realize that weight loss is not about fighting yourself. It's about finally allowing your body to do what it has always been capable of doing. If you truly want to continue learning how to heal your metabolism, activate fat-burning biology, and unlock the science-backed strategies you've never been taught before, then make sure you stay connected with us. Because every day we uncover new research and bring new health insights that can transform your life. So before you scroll away, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on the bell notification. Take up Hamari next daily health tips video time par dek second and begin your journey toward a healthier, leaner, and more powerful version of yourself.